All right, here we go. I'm using the new laptop, so I'm guessing it should be in focus. I don't know what time it is. 5:30 or something. No power. Well, the power has been going in and out. It just came on again, so we'll see if this even lasts. I don't know. Huge storm hit last night. Of course, our neighborhood was trees all over the frickin' place, and we're getting beat up pretty good, but whatever. Meanwhile, this morning we have to drive somebody to the airport. I don't know if we're gonna make it there or back, but they'll be throwing the big chainsaw in the back of the truck just for emergencies. You never know. Now, it's funny. Sometimes I'll put in my notes where I've copied my emails to. I'll put a little note for me to ask questions as I'm driving along or do whatever, doing whatever I'm doing, and a thought will come into my head, and I'll be like, "That was kind of odd, isn't it?" You know. And I made a note. I'm just looking as one note is caught. I had a bunch of thoughts in here. One thought was signs good people are in control. There's the big question, right? No matter what's going on, like all of our countries are falling apart, especially Canada. And it looks like we have somebody about to be in a new prime minister, apparently. Same as the States. You guys got a new president coming in, and a few other countries. And I'm like, all right. Apparently they're the next best thing, right? Well, I'd be interested to hear what everybody's thoughts were on the signs that the true good guys were in control, right? What do you think the blatant signs would be for you to go, oh, holy shit, right on, the bad guys aren't in control anymore. Thank God, finally. Right? What are the signs for you to recognize that fact today? I wonder, right? I mean, let's face it. Another thing, too, after that, I made a note. Celebrities are not being exposed or arrested, right? You look at all these headliners. I think Nino's right into that shit. I'm not. But it goes across the mainstream or wherever you pick up your phone. There's titles or people are talking about it randomly. About all these celebrities going down and Diddy. Everybody's scared. Everybody's running for the hills. They're about to be exposed. Well, I don't see anybody getting arrested for nothing. I don't see anybody getting arrested for any specific sex crime or anything ever anywhere. Right? Meanwhile, that Ghislaine Maxwell's doing time for sex trafficking human beings to nobody. Right? There's a big sign that the good guys aren't in control. Right? All these stupid waste of time headlines, all these stupid waste of time celebrities, all being terrified. They're going to be exposed. Shit's going down. There's nothing going down. There's nobody getting arrested. It's just a big waste of frickin' time and bullshit, right? Anyway, what else do we got? Another thought I had too driving down the road was, how do all these security guys not dummy the bad guys? There's a big question for me. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing to me just how many people are in law enforcement, military, places of security, and they are packing heat, and they are protecting some of the globe's largest criminals ever. Typically leaders in the West, but how they aren't dummying these guys is beyond me. How did you losers get trained to be put in that obedient position like an obedient little puppy dog? Okay? You're packing a gun and you're protecting the criminals that are annihilating your society's members. Unbelievable how many and how common and how easy that is. Or a thought for me. Right? Let's open up some weird thoughts, odd thoughts. In your face thoughts, facts. Another thing too, as I'm trying to figure out this crazy ride on when I do decide to donate time to it, how about actors? How about movies? Another funny topic. Odd. Sarah and I, we put on a movie. She got the Netflix thing, the internet's hooked up to the TV. We don't have cable. And she's always out, and like, I always joke about how She goes, pick a movie. I'm like, well, I might as well. I'll pick the movie because I'm going to be the only one watching it. Because she falls asleep in like 3 minutes every single time. Doesn't matter if she's tired or not. And the entertainment system used to manipulate people on average. Why is it always the same people? Isn't that bizarre? It's always the same quote actors, end quote. When you really look at it, what an actor should probably be, not many of them are really actors. Right? Think about how many of those characters you see in all the movies. And they're basically the exact same person, the exact same demeanor, speaking the exact same way, with the same looks on their face, never really truly acting. Like, Billy Bob Thornton, that guy's a true actor. He can. You guys ever watch Sling Blade? I mean, he's played some roles where you don't even know who the hell it is. But then you get somebody like, I don't know, Mark Wahlberg, that dude. He's just the same douche he's in every single movie, same guy. Do you know what I mean? So how come he gets to play? How come he gets to be in that position? How about that guy, The Rock, that dude? Same thing. He's not an incredible actor. He's the same guy in every single movie. He's never actually looking or actually taking the role on as somebody absolutely different, a different personality, different language, a different accent. You know what I mean? Like a true actor. So, not that I'm trying to pick on individuals, but it's just alarming to me how and why. Be another rabbit hole to dive into as you watch this shit show in Hollywood go down for years of using the exact same people that are in that club. Right? Tom Cruise. Good actor? No, apparently likes doing his stunts. You got to give him that one, but he's the exact same doorknob in every single movie. The exact same guy. Same hair, same speech, same language, no faking an accent, no faking nothing. No pretending, no being a true actor. You know what I mean? Who's that other guy? I could go on and on. But anyway, it's one of my observations and a big question mark. Because if acting in movies were about telling a story, why does it have to be the same people in them? I know I get the marketing value having some of these douchebags in the same movie, but if you're going to make a blockbuster movie and tell a true story to the audience, which should be the motive of making a movie. I mean, there's a shit pile of actors out there, true actors who's studying acting. They want to become an actor. They master their skill. They can mimic a language. They can change their body, make their looks different, and be a true actor. Not just a celebrity douchebag who's allowed in the club. And how do they get in that club? Right? Well, that's apparently coming to the surface, but it's not. Okay, there's my opening little babble when I looked at some of my notes in here of my random thoughts as I'm driving down the road, contemplating life. Now, who do we got? I think this is in the recent folders. Haven't had any hate mail lately saying, hey man, you read that email the other day, you read it before. Okay, thanks, Skippy. Hey Steve. There's no title of this email. Hey Steve, seen your last video about a person asking about the meaning of Sabe and if it came from the Lone Ranger. I looked it up and I found this. It makes sense to me and hope this helps. Thank you for all your videos and Merry Christmas to you and yours. Be safe out there, brother. Thomas Brown. Merry Christmas to you too, Thomas. And let's see what you got. So he did a screenshot of something. I'll read it. Camp Ki Mo Sa B was in an area inhabited by the Ottawa, who speak a language that is mutually comprehensible with the Ojibwe. John D. Nichols and Earl Nyholm's A Concise Dictionary of Minnesota Ojibwe defines the Ojibwe word Giyim Uzabi as he peaks, and in theory, he who peaks, making use of the prefix Gimu. Sorry. Giimoo. You guys take a stab at it without being shown. Secretly. Okay, so making use of the prefix Gimu. Gimu? Secretly. Rob Malouf, now an associate professor of linguistics at San Diego State University, suggested that Gimuzabi may indeed have also meant scout, i.e., one who sneaks. All right, there you go. I'm pretty sure the Ojibwe came up with that word first. I'm pretty certain. We've had it shared with us in the past from an Ojibwe member, person, descent, tribe. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, I don't know what this is about. Should I go in? I'm going in. The only time I don't go in is when I think it's completely right out there off topic, and I'll save you guys the pain. Sometimes, right? Sometimes. Trust me, I get all sorts of shit emailed to me, right? Sharing a spiritual journey. And I'm going to share that for sure, because once you dive into this topic and start realizing, trying to figure out what's going on, it takes you to a spiritual journey. There's no way out of it unless you block it. Hi, Steve. I've been following you since you first started talking about the Sabe. Until this year, I would have had to say I was not a knower. No, I'm not so sure. At the time, my mind screamed bear as I hammered the binders. A black flash came out of the right ditch and flew across the road, mere feet in front of my bumper. After the fact, I began to question the bear idea. Number one, I was cruising. Number two, my brakes are good. But with a 2,800-pound camper on it, my Dodge does not stop on a dime. It barely slowed down. Number three, that had to be the fastest black bear alive. And it had a light-colored underbelly. I saw that clearly as it seemed to twist in midair as it passed in front of me. I've seen bears run before, and this one seemed to leap more like a cat crossing my lane in one bound. It landed on the oncoming lane as I blew past it. I cannot see anything when I look back in my side mirror. Now I did some research and found this. The Kermode bear, a rare white variant of the black bear with a pale yellow underbelly and legs. This variant is found in the Kermode Islands off the Pacific coast of British Columbia. Actually, they're all white, those bears. Not just their underbelly and legs, they're all white. You can Google them up anytime. However, I was coming south out of Jasper heading for the Kootenays. I can't say for sure what I saw, but I can't convince myself it was just a bear. All right, just so you know, an old friend of mine grew up in Jasper, and said that the police used to come into their work, have coffee, and told him flat out that the amount of Sasquatch sightings on the BC-Alberta border end of Jasper was off the frickin' hook. Meaning, very many. Just so you know. So, on to the spiritual journey. In today's video, December 10th, 24, you talked about your spiritual journey and introduced us to Darius J. Wright. I had not heard of him until you mentioned, and I had a brief look at some of his info on the web. I will be looking into him further for sure. The reason I'm commenting is because you have wondered a couple of times in previous videos, after hearing talk about OBEs, that's out-of-body experiences, I can say that they are very real. I had one as a teen and it scared the hell out of me. I've been on a spiritual journey since I started watching your first Sabe videos. You told us back then to do our own research and take from it what you will. And I did. Head down the first rabbit hole. I was raised in a Christian family, but all my life had a hard time believing in the God of the Bible as the church tends to teach. The supposed loving God that constantly led armies to war, demanded blood sacrifices, blamed all humanity for original sin, and was going to burn us forever in hell if we stepped out of line. I could not reconcile the loving Father with the cruelty that was constantly dished out. I lived in constant fear of not being good enough to go to heaven and be reunited with my family. I feared death. When I first went down the rabbit hole, I came to the same conclusion as many Christians, that Sabe had to be the Nephilim. But the further down I went, the less I swallowed the teachings of the church. When it came to the knowledge about the formation of the Bible by men and the proper translation of the stories within it, my whole world fell apart. The anger at all the lies we have been fed our whole lives was unbelievable. It took a while to calm down. Then I began to discover the truth about who and what we really are. Talk about an epiphany. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Because of my out-of-body experience, I knew it was true. The fear left me. I still have a long way to go on this journey, and I'm very interested in what Darius has to say. I'd love to see you have a chat with him. Thanks for sharing. Since I already had one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel, as they say, I'm not sure I can figure it all out before my time's up, but it's going to be a wild ride from here on. Take care, Linda. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to the bus, maybe I should say, right? And I get it. And man has twisted the stories, the truths. Without a doubt, they've used the churches big time to manipulate a lot of people with guilt and fright, which is absolutely wrong. And on that note, the other day, quick note, another little babble. It's all valuable information, right? So, quick note. So, I had to do a bunch of fencing yesterday in the muck and the rain, and I put on a pair of headphones and I leave my phone in the shop where it hits the internet, and then my phone reaches the headphones in my head while I'm fencing. And I listened to the PBD, Paul Bet David Bet Paul Bet David podcast. This guy's on fire, man. I got a lot of respect for this guy. He actually lived in Iran. He's Armenian and was a refugee in a refugee camp in Germany. And now he's in the United States. He's very successful. I consider that guy, he's a true genius. He's like a human calculator. Very well spoken, very sharp, and a very successful man. A lot of respect for that guy if you hear his life story. But anyway, he has some pretty impressive guests on his show. And I don't listen to all of them because he's all over the map. He has a lot of various different characters on his podcast. Some I have no interest in, some I do. But he had on, you'll see where this is going in a minute. He had on the second in command. No, would it be called the second in command? Yeah, it was. It was Zelensky in the Ukraine's right-hand guy, who they got rid of because he was a threat to Zelensky. And apparently, maybe, possibly, if it ever comes to the time when they are allowed to have elections again, because that little creep actually jailed his opponents and shut down elections. Another story. But anyway, they had him on the podcast. And this man asked him some pretty hard questions that I'm curious about the answers to. And obviously, there's no way. I mean, the guy is hoping to become leader of the Ukraine, so I don't think he answered all of them honestly. I don't think he can because he wants to go back to his country and become a leader one day. But one thing that he did say that I wasn't aware of, which I'm going to pass on to you guys, is, and that'll lead to my next little submission. He asked him who he thought was responsible for the Nord Stream pipeline attack. And because I've always wondered that too. And he also questioned him on that Boris Johnson, that absolute British scumbag who went over there and put a halt to any peace talks, which has resulted in the loss of so many lives. I can't believe he's not swinging from the rope. But anyway, get this one. Big puzzle piece for me on that topic. The man from the Ukraine noted the United Kingdom has always wanted to ensure they prevent the union of Germany and Russia at all costs. There you go. That was a piece of the puzzle that I hadn't quite heard yet blatantly from somebody who's not in with the collective West totally, right? Somebody from Europe and directly from the Ukraine. That was an interesting statement for me to hear. Makes a lot of sense. And they also, he would not answer directly who he thought was responsible for that bombing. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that bombing, it was a natural gas line from Russia to Germany, Europe, and they blew it up, which has now also caused the near annihilation of Germany. Their economy, everything is absolutely in the gutter in Germany. I believe it's intentional, without a doubt. And they blew up the pipeline, and now they are forced to buy that same gas from the United States at 3 times the cost. Imagine, talk about getting bent over the barrel, right? But anyway, that was very interesting to hear him say that, because I never heard of that. I didn't know about that yet. Some of you may be interested in that, some of you may not be. But just so you know, I heard that straight from the mouth of the man who was shoulder to shoulder with with the leader of the Ukraine. He said flat out, Britain will and always has gone out of their way to prevent any kind of union between Germany and Russia at all costs. Huh, isn't shit starting to make sense, right? Now about the churches and everything, another thing I was going to share. Let's just say the good guy army was a real thing. Let's just say the good guy army was a real thing, and the good guy army had the resources and the power to actually make a big difference in the world for the better of people as a whole. If I was in the good guy army and I had any kind of swing at all, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I think at this stage of the game, and I've thought this for quite a while, if you were to make society, life on Earth more pleasant than not and annihilate wars and famine, I think that if you absolutely nuked the Vatican and every single dark son of a bitch that has any kind of persuasion with the government of the UK and nuke them too, I firmly believe instantly the world would start absolutely flooding in a good direction. What do you think about that? For all you sleuths that know what I'm talking about. There you go. There's my little coffee-induced babble rantaroo. And that directly relates to the church and what the church has done with the previous email, or I just added on a bunch more. Anyway, let's get back into some email. Excuse me. This next email is titled, The Wealth of Knowledge Picked Up on This Incredible Ride. Hi, Steve. My name's... I hope I'm allowed to use your name. My name is John Reisner. I live in rural northeast Oregon, La Grande in Union County. I don't have a story worth telling about, in my opinion anyways. I've been stalked and pushed out of areas and flat scared shitless, and also that feeling of dread. Like, don't turn around or look in the rearview mirror, just get out now. And the rifle and the pistol on my front seat meant nothing. You know, the usual boring stuff compared to some of the encounters from other members of the No Return. I mean, holy shit, brother. You can't make this shit up. Bubs, it's all good. I mean, quit doing what you're supposed to do. We're good, we're safe. Okay? You don't have to bark. Just the neighbor. I mean, holy shit, brother, you can't make this shit up. I don't care what anybody says. About a week ago, you said something about the last 4 years or so, about the things we've all learned along the way. And I've got to say, I think I'm even more confused now than ever. I've always known they're out there, but wow. This abundance of knowledge on the variations of everything is so overwhelming. Some things are not meant to be understood by us dumb, dirty humans, I guess. I know I was hooked 4 years ago when I stumbled on your site, and try to catch up daily for the most part because my way of thinking and how I view the world has changed. This false reality and giant lie we live in eats at my consciousness constantly. These Trump haters, die hard to the end, give me daily entertainment though. I cannot believe how this many people can have such a deep burning hatred for one of the better presidents in quite a long time. And that is the most you'll ever hear me talk politically. These YouTube videos of them and the instant karma they receive is some funny shit, eh? These 370,000 missing children is just killing me, man. How in the frick is it not on every news channel every day? This is what I mean, Steve. Stumbling on this channel was not dumb luck. This is way bigger than Sasquatch, and there's no turning back. We're all committed, and we know who we are. What else can I say? Stay true and keep plucking good souls and giving us a place to come together and learn and get stronger against the dark bullshit being exposed. Good health to all. And there you go. I'm going to call this one the bus, right? Welcome on the bus. It's a crazy ride, man. And I think more and more people are realizing that once you are slapped in the face with the reality of what's going on just in our forests and mountains, if you get stuck there and don't go past go, I feel sorry for you because everything's related. Everything is related. So like I said when I was a kid, whoa, why are they lying to us about these things? And what else are they lying to us about? Right? Instead of, man, I just want to go out and find me some dermal ridges to stare at again because I've been staring at dermal ridges for 25 years now and mid-tarsal breaks. Said no functioning brain ever. Right? No free functioning brain, I should say. Sorry. Now, who else? What do we got here? Oh, that's been red. Why isn't that marked as red? Mark this as red. Dumbass. Oop. All right, here we go. Have I read this? Don't know. I don't think I have. What I was told telepathically by Bigfoot and story. All right, well, let's see if anything, if we get something to add to a pattern when it comes to people communicating here. Hi, Steve. Thank you for your selfless giving. My name is A. You can say that name, but I don't want anyone going to my channel, trying to find me or follow me. As you would say, I don't give a shit about any of that or what anyone thinks. I have attempted telepathic communication with Bigfoot, as well as reading on these beings. I consider myself to have a logical head on my shoulders, have compassion for others, perhaps too much, and have 35 years of experience and tracked accuracy in psychic reading to back me up in what I'm about to say. Thank you for sharing it, no matter how weird. Because you have several Christians on your channel, I wanted to say first that I am using my gift to get this information. If I said, God spoke to me, said in a dramatic pastor voice, these Christians would call me a prophet. Otherwise, they would call you the devil. God is within. Or as the Bible states, quote, the kingdom of heaven is within, end quote. And as I said earlier, I don't need any of these judgmental, low-level thinking individuals sicked on me. I've had enough for 10 lifetimes. See the plank in your own eye first, etc. I'm well versed in the Bible. So here it goes. I'm attaching 3 short audio clips from early 2023 that I shared with my audience privately about these beings. One of them has a telepathic conversation. I mentioned a little what you talked about with Nino on Bigfoot and their sensitivity to lasers in it. With their sensitivity to lasers. You're free to play them, or I can transcribe it if you would prefer. Added story. This is a story about my 2 trips to the woods prior to ever listening to your channel, where I stayed at the edge of 2 different national forests. The first sojourn I went with a friend. We had cabins side by side. Every evening we were both overcome with terror. Blood-curdling fear for no reason. I had to walk home 2 nights in a row to my cabin with that overwhelming irrational fear. The second visit to the woods, I went alone. I felt like I was in danger, so I put up a spiritual defense shield, so to speak, around my cabin. I went on this trip to specifically commune with nature. However, the woods were silent. There's no breeze, and I saw 0 wildlife. It was like this for 2 days. I was so disappointed. I took a few pictures and still couldn't get rid of the feeling that I was being watched, but they couldn't touch me, whoever they were, because I had refused permission for them to enter my campsite. I'm a bit of a rebel. I wanted to walk across the street to the opposite woods, but my intuition screamed, no, do not go there. Stay on your campsite. When I left to return home, suddenly animals were everywhere. Birds were swooping in front of my car, squirrels, etc. And later I shared one of my photos that included the woods on the other side of the street. And one of my listeners said they saw a man in the woods in the photo. I immediately felt the word skinwalker. I think the first trip may have been a Bigfoot causing the fear, as it was in an area known for sightings, although I did not know that at the time. The picture's attached. I haven't seen one, and I hope I never do. End of email. All right, well, anyway, what do we got here? Another photo. That's a toughie. But whatever. Now, hold on a sec. Where's my screen? Why is my screen shutting out on me? Come on. One sec, gotta sign back in. There we go. There's the photo. And I know that's clear because I can see it's clear. Now, if you zoom in, though, I don't know. Possibly a chunk of tree to me. But anyway, the best thing you do when you have photos like that, everyone, is get someone to go stand there and take a photo from the exact same spot again later on. And that usually helps. But I appreciate that email. That's all I had attached. So if there's the conversations you had weren't attached, there's nothing else attached. So if you want to send them over, we're all ears. We are all ears. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your email. Okay, next. This is titled A Couple of Stories. Dear Steve, I enjoy your videos and appreciate what you do, both in your local community as well as your ever-growing online community. The response to your channel shows how much real people crave some truth. Right? True enough. I mean, how the hell do we get to this number of people without ever saying, hey, make sure you ring the bell, like, subscribe, and share, whatever they say, right? And then you get some asshole like me that comes on here and says, I don't give a shit if you're here or not. Door's wide open. Stay or leave. But everybody's welcome. Until you turn into a prick. And then the whole audience will eat your ass alive, right? I've always had a curiosity about the Sasquatch and have a faint memory of seeing one while playing hide and seek with my brothers in the mountains above Devil's Punch Bowl in California. We were camping there for an extended period, and as I grew up in the 70s and early 80s, we were allowed to wander and play as long as we were back by dark. I would only have been about 5 or 6 years old, but I recall seeing one of these beings while hiding from my brothers, and it putting its finger over its mouth like, shh, so I would not alert anyone else of its presence. Holy crap, that would be crazy. For a kid, I was not scared. I did not feel threatened. And from my child viewpoint, it was just someone else in the woods playing or something, and I continued hiding. I was so comfortable. In fact, that I turned my back on it, and when I looked again, it was gone. I didn't even tell anyone about it. Years later, I realized what that must have been. It was only about 10 feet from me and seemed to be leaning against a rock ledge that was covered in foliage, half hidden, but I couldn't see its entire body. Half hidden, but I could still see the entire body. He, definitely seemed like a he, was only as tall as a regular adult to me, but somewhat lanky and covered in short dark brown fur. His face was kind of monkey-like, but human enough that it didn't seem out of place. I'm guessing this would have been a teenager. A lot of people report these beings emitting something that fills them with terror. Maybe they can emit a calm as well, because, again, I was not scared at all. I don't recall feeling any more surprise than you would if you rounded a corner and someone happened to be standing there. Unexpected, yes, but not alarming. About 3 years later, we were camping on the Klamath River on the Oregon/California border. My father and brothers crossed the river on blow-up rafts and went exploring the wilderness on the other side. The river had quite a current, and I was not allowed to go. When they came back, they were very excited to report they had found a huge footprint on the ground and the corresponding print on a ledge a few feet above that, with a huge pile of feces in the middle. Like a leg had been lifted to keep from soiling themselves. Wow. They took pictures of the track with my brother's tennis shoe for size reference. The print was about double the size of the shoe. That picture, taken on an old 35mm, is long gone, of course, but I remember the incident and the photo clearly. I've been watched while driving on remote roads in northwestern Montana and seen some very peculiar tree formations in the woods in West Virginia. Most recently, while driving on an old fire road in eastern Idaho, we came to several trees bent over the road so deliberately that they were intrigued, and then came to a spot where the two trees had been bent over. one from each side, to form an almost perfect X across the road. The message was now very clear, but we decided to ignore it and continue. I want to be respectful, but I feel the woods belong to all of us. And as we meant no harm, we kept going. After a few miles, we reached a locked gate and had to turn around and drive back the way we came. And on the return, there was a huge fallen log laid completely across the road. It hadn't been 20 minutes since we had passed that section going the other way. There was no wind and no way to explain the appearance of this log across the road except someone had just put it there. We moved the log, drove past it, and then we put it back across the road, not wanting to actually anger anyone. You're lucky. When you say huge log where I'm from, that means the log is almost potentially more than half the height of the ceiling laying on its side. So whatever that was, you're lucky you could move it by hand. Real lucky. I also want to say that you're spot on about the school system and the powers that be wanting us to doubt each other and, most importantly, ourselves. I think the biggest problem is that children are conditioned not to observe for themselves and not to trust their observations. We are taught that some authority has an answer for everything we see, feel, and experience, and the truth is quite the opposite. When someone emerges from this system still able to think for themselves, they are a force to be reckoned with. That is why you are popular. But it's also why you have been attacked by those who run the system, as well as those who are stuck in it. You're reminding people that their observations and personal truths are valuable and important. Thanks again for what you're doing, Tracy. Tracy, this place is nothing without people like you. Nothing. I can't do this by myself. The only way I can do this is if I have an army of people who are on the same page as I am, and that's all you guys, right? And you. Please don't read this next part on camera. Okay, give me a second. Read and fully agree. Tracy, we absolutely appreciate you and your time. And make sure you email us back again sometime when you have acquired a handful more puzzle pieces and they fit in place. All over it. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Valuable member. Another one. What do we got here? This is titled Sasquatch and Aliens. Could this be the truth of Sasquatches and aliens? Hello, Steve. Really enjoy your show and look forward to it on a daily basis. Currently enjoying my retirement and my freedom. I love when you have a rant. I love when you have a rant rumble. Makes me feel so happy to see that firecracker go off in your heart as you have so much passion to the truths of this life and remarkably made everyone feel they're not alone. I do say thank you on my behalf as I reached a comfortable place in life with less fear after my many encounters with the forest people. Well, that's good news, and appreciate the kind words. I've lived in the Comox Valley all my life, and do enter the surrounding forest daily with my dogs. And the last 2 years, I've had encounters with a small clan of forest people who made it impossible to enter part of the forest I frequent. I'm not going into the full stories as it may turn into a book. I know how you prefer to keep stories short. Yeah, not really. I just like everybody to tell their story of what happened and what they're upset about, what screwed them up, or what they want to share for knowledge. You know, there's sometimes we'll get people that go on and tell a book about their whole life story for about 20 minutes, and then they go, anyways, one day, right? From my experiences with the male, female, and juvenile, they're very selective whom they choose. They select only people whom are open and carry a certain vibration. They either make life miserable for you or help, judging by how they read you. The juveniles really play havoc with you like you are their toy, which can be very unnerving and some danger involved. The male is dominant and doesn't like to toy with people, defiantly territorial and boisterous. The female's energy is a lot softer, non-aggressive, but on guard. Their portals are usually aquatic. They have a moist climate when you enter them. You can usually hear a pop when they come from a portal. You know what when they're near because the atmosphere feels dreadful and heavy, complete with growls. They'll try to imitate a bird, which sounds like it's coming from an amplifier and sounds synthetic. Folks often ask if they talk. Well, I did hear the male saying one word to me, saying, no, not telepathically. Their touch is cold, not warm like ours. They are moist with a slight pitchy texture and present an outhouse body smell. They'll follow you home and will enter your home unannounced at their own free will in a swirling, primary colored orb. It's our job to rebuke them in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And over time, this will break the contract with them. This is how I feel it. On conditions, you pray daily for protection. These forest people are threatened by the Lord Jesus Christ. It's the only thing that works. The sooner the better. Your life will get better and healed in time, as I experienced it. And funny how a dog will scratch the carpet to lay down. I suggest do not go looking for them. Leave them alone. If they come to you, wood knocking and breaking trees, rebuke them, as I mentioned. Also, they are linked with the aliens, as I watched many encounters unfold in my backyard. I've seen it all. I learned from their nightly visits, learning they are in connection with the Greys as they are analyzing our kind for a rare DNA harvest as needed for their dying breed. They'll suck up as much energy from a person as it gives them the energy to live longer, leaving often people sick with long-term ailments or unexplained deaths. I'd be surprised if this is the case. I'd be surprised if that is the case of missing people, especially Native women. Native folks were the closest to these people back in the day. Forest people adapted to their language and do communicate in a native tongue. Well, there's more, but judging by my story, it grew like a blackberry vine. I hold my truths to my heart and have shared only with a few. Do not give a shit if anyone believes me, but been there, done that, and happily moved on. One good thing I can share, I'm not fearful and still frequent the forest every day. Just tell them you're here and not here to bother them. Fear not the forest. Fear not the forest people. Thank you, Mr. Steve. And folks, you only get stronger and wise with healing. Love to all you beautiful souls whom have been there. Bronwyn. All right, there you go. Lots of bold statements in there. Bold statements of knowledge you've got that can only mean you sat down and saw or were told directly. Take for what you will, leave it, you guys, and appreciate that time you sent that email. Now, do I got to get going? I must be getting my built-in clock is telling me it's nearing time to get moving. What's this one? This is titled, There Has to Be Millions of People Like Me. There's a good chance of it. Hi, Steve. My name is Troy, Grand Mason. I live in Haverhill, MA, Massachusetts. I've been waiting my whole life for someone or some TV show to finally do some real investigation about what I've only known as Bigfoot. And after the shit show with the powers to be in the recent years and finding your YouTube since fall of 22, I finally got what I've been waiting for all these years. The testimony from everyone far exceeds what any honest journalist could do for this topic. Agreed, and I'm glad we got that across to a lot of people. I feel foolish waiting all these years for some truth. As a kid, me and my brother seen a craft in the sky. A week later, we went to the drive-in movies to watch Sasquatch, then saw the Patterson-Gimlin film. I always believed the film was legit. I never experienced these beings myself, but after listening to everyone share their experience, how can anyone deny this? Well, it's a good question, but then again, how many people think that a man can give birth today? Right? Sorry, I lost my... We've been failed in almost all things as far as I'm concerned. I just want to thank you for setting up a place like this, and I want to thank all the people for sharing their experiences. I'm a member of the club who's been lied to my whole life, and I'm 54 years old. Thank you, Troy Grand Mason. Troy, welcome aboard, my friend. And I sure am stoked that you're picking up what your community is putting down. Right? Thank God. Thank God we are all starting to trust and listen to each other again. right? This next email is titled The Smell. Hey, Steve, how's it hanging? I'm watching your videos, I've heard a few different thoughts people have on the smell. Here's mine. Maybe the smell is the females on their moon/menstrual cycle. I know people are probably saying, what the hell? Why would anyone even think something like that? If you think about it, though, it's not like they have access to pads or tampons. So obviously the blood is going to give off a bad smell, especially after a few days. I would love to hear yours and the thoughts of the people. You're a badass MF, and you have a beautiful soul. You probably don't even realize the peace you've given so many people. Thank you for that. Best regards to you and yours, Courtney. Good, valid thought, Courtney. Probably just made a bunch of people cringe. Whatever. But I'm just scrolling through the next video here. But the fact of the matter is, the smell's been associated with both male and female. It doesn't really... by now, there would have been a pattern of, well, it's definitely male, didn't smell a thing. Said nobody on a pattern, right? Like, if the smell was only associated with female-looking forest people, then it'd be like, okay, well, that's probably a high probability. Good one. But we don't have that pattern at all. So far, it's straight across the board, both sexes and ages and shapes and sizes. But thanks for that email. I'm glad the wheels are turning, right? Glad the wheels are turning. Virginia experience ? Hi, Steve. Thanks for continuing to share knowledge and ideas with the How to Hunt family. You can use my name. I'm way past caring what people think. I know what I saw/heard. My name is Wayne Goulash. Hope I pronounced your last name correctly, sir. From Hanover, Massachusetts. Finally, we've had a handful of people emailing from Massachusetts, right? This week. Sent an experience from Montana a few years back and recently had another. My wife and I are visiting cousins in Virginia, only a few miles from Quantico Military Base. I was sitting in a chair on the backyard patio with my cousin's husband birdwatching. Eagles were fishing the river half a mile away. The houses were on acre lots with an empty lot between next house. It was noon. Sunny, barely any clouds, and deep woods behind this small neighborhood. As I was looking towards the woods directly behind the house, I saw movement at the fence along the nearby house approximately 175 feet away. What I saw was a very large man take 2 steps toward the woods and go behind a very large oak tree. He never came out from behind the tree. He just vanished. Because the way the sunlight was, all I saw was the classic slightly hunched forward silhouette of Sasquatch. My cousin's husband was looking the other direction and didn't see anything. The fence was 4 feet high and just above its knee. I asked my cousin if people were home there, and he said no, they're out of town for a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, couldn't make out any other details other than it was probably 7 to 8 feet tall, judging by the fence height against the leg. I did physically measure the fence the next day because I thought maybe it was a short one, but nope. No footsteps, no brush cracking, nothing. And like you say, if you're writing in, you know what you saw. Keep the truths coming. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and to everyone in the How to Hunt family. Thanks, Wayne. Right on, Wayne. Appreciate the submission. And you're right. You go out of your way to find this channel, which shouldn't be easy, with the title of the channel right. Really. And then start listening, and then figuring it out, and then finding the email and emailing us. You know what you saw. You know what you saw. Now, hold on a minute. What do we got? I'm going to squeeze in one more and I'm going to get ripping. All right. What do we got? How long is this? Not too bad for this stage of the game. I only say no to the long ones after I've already been here for 45 minutes or so, right? This is titled Strange Things. Hi, Steve. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and yours. And right back at you. My name is Melissa. I live up in the northeast corner of Tennessee. I'm a truck driver. And I tell you that because most of all the unusual incidents that I have had kind of revolve around that. No doubt, you get to see everything at all times of day and night. I used to be an over-the-road truck driver. And my route at the time of my first and only strange sighting occurrence was when I was coming east on Interstate 40 between Williams and Flagstaff, Arizona. I don't remember the exact date of this occurrence, but I do remember that it was around March or perhaps April of 2019. I was traveling up the mountain going towards Flagstaff early one morning. It wasn't quite daylight yet, so probably between 5 and 6 a.m. And I saw something standing in a row of pine trees along the side of the interstate. I could see the shaggy hair. My headlights caught the hair, and it appeared to be a mixture of brown and red tipped. What I saw was a very large barrel-shaped chest and torso area. I could not see the legs, head, or arms, or anything like that. I thought for the longest time that it must have been an elk or something else that is really big. The more I've thought about it over the last few years and have listened to the people who write into your channel, I'm leaning more towards a Bigfoot. I know that elk are really big, but I don't think this is what I saw. The chest area that I saw does not match up with an elk. Fast forward to this year, 2024. I'm now a somewhat local driver, and I drive for a company who has a drop yard in Newport, Tennessee. I drive the night shift, so I'm often at the yard in the wee hours of night and early morning. The first strange occurrence was one early morning, just before daybreak. I arrived back to the yard after finishing up my route. I turned off my truck and was gathering up my personal belongings. I opened the truck door to get out of the truck. I had one foot on the top step, and I leaned in to sign out of my computer logs when a rock came from seemingly nowhere, and hit the steps right beside my foot on the step. That startled me, and I quickly shut the door. I looked around using my mirrors and could not see anything. It took me a few moments to calm down and get up enough nerve to walk to my car. This place is really creepy anyways. In September this year, I arrived back at the same drop yard after running my route, and it was around 5 a.m., so it wasn't quite daybreak yet. I had to unlock my tractor and drive it up to the shop to have a service done on it. So I had to walk back down towards the truck and trailer parking area to get to my car. There's a wood line area to my right. And as I was walking down the hill toward my car, I heard something walking alongside me in the wood line. I stopped to look around. It stopped. I also want to add that I could smell a very foul old urine smell. I proceeded to continue my walk to my car again, and whatever was in the wood line began walking again. I stopped, it stopped. Whatever it was seemed heavy, and it did make noise as it walked with me. Perhaps it wanted me to know it was there. 100%. Who knows? Anyway, at this point, I began picking up the pace and got to my car as fast as I could without breaking into a full run. I never saw anything, so I cannot say what it was with certainty. I thought perhaps a bear. But do bears smell like really old urine or paste people like that? I have no clue. I have smelled the same odor numerous times around there, but I've never actually saw anything. Other drivers have also mentioned strange experiences in smelling the same odor on occasion. And as I've listened to the people who contribute their experiences on your channel, I've realized that I've actually had several experiences when I was much younger and used to hike and wander around in the forest around here. I've heard strange noises and have seen several strange structures around these parts. I always wondered how or what made them. Now I know. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for sharing the truth and helping all the people, and especially the hungry children. God bless you and yours. And God bless you and yours too, Melissa. Appreciate the email. And you know what you might want to do? I'm sure you got to know some other drivers that you trust by now. You know, everybody can pick up on the energy of someone else, besides, especially when you work with them. But You should ask them. Especially some of the senior drivers, people have really spent a lot of time on the road and say, so, I seen something once driving. It was really weird. I don't think it was a human. Have you ever seen anything like that? And just look them in the eye. Don't laugh. Don't make it look like it's a comical topic, and they'll start spilling. You're going to hear some shit. Guaranteed you're going to hear it. Guaranteed. I think old Adventure Puppy's a little tired. I don't think she got much sleep last night with that storm. Even Sarah didn't get any sleep either. She's like, I can't believe you slept through that. I'm like, what? The Christmas lights, and she's got all those blow-up Christmas things in the front of the house. We're slapping on the house and the branches and the wind. It was crazy. Slept like a baby. I think the only time I wake up is when I feel energy or something threatening. You know what I mean? But other than that, I sleep pretty solid. Now, what was I going to say before getting out of here? I don't know if she's got any of these youth hats left or not. I haven't a clue. I think I already shared these though, right? She only had 5 of those ones. It's a collector item, right? And then 50 or 75, I don't know, of these ones with a lug one center. For the kids. She finally got them. They're in her store, along with the decals, and but the more important message was it Christmas tomorrow? Holy shit, right? So it's Christmas Eve day today. I'm guessing that's when all the men out there start the Christmas shopping, right? So good luck to you. I hope all you guys find what you're looking for in one day. And what? Then what? You're going to go grab yourself a rum and coke or eggnog and go hide in the basement and wrap gifts tonight at dinner time, probably. Or not. But I will be here live tomorrow. It's Christmas tomorrow. Crazy. I'll be live tomorrow. Probably in here. For all of you who think you're alone, but you're really not, all right? You're not alone. And I'm going to prove that tomorrow. And then we'll hang out here and bullshit. Throw some shit back and forth. Ask some questions. Answer them. Do whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I'll read some emails. And then and we'll enjoy our Christmas mid-morning with each other here. All right? Be here or be square. What else? I think that's about it. I'm not going to share any more emails, but I'm going to get one more little slight ramble about what I was speaking when I interrupted the whole video earlier with my thoughts on the UK, the government of the UK. I mean, you imagine the swing you must have to be able to get a foreign country to come and do your dirty, nasty misgivings, aka blowing up a pipeline underwater. But then again, I guess who would have benefited from both parties would have benefited, right? So allegedly, the UK does not want Russia and Germany even contact. Well, there's a win for them. And then the US got to sell the same gas at 3 times the cost of Germany. Well, there's a win for the people who allegedly blew up the pipeline. Huh? Go figure. But anyway. One thing I did notice when we were going through the lockdowns, when that horse shit was intentionally dropped on humanity around the globe, was I noticed that the Commonwealth countries, and if you're not familiar with that, that's all the countries who are apparently still under the rule of the United Kingdom. What a fucking joke, right? But anyway, all of the Commonwealth countries, from what I was observing, were the countries whose people got hammered on the worst by their government. Prove me wrong. But there's something linked up with what I earlier said, was if the good guy army ever really truly came together on the face of the planet today and had the resources, I'm absolutely convinced if they dealt with the UK, the government, not the people, take it easy, Karen. If the good guy army went and annihilated the sons of bitches who have that dark influence over the globe, starting there, I am absolutely convinced a whole bunch of good would start flooding around the globe. Prove me wrong. Right? And then if we really want to get into it, truth about our history, put an end to famine. The Vatican. Those dirty sons of bitches, right? Look into it. They are evil. In your face, evil. Wow. Wow. Okay, there you go. I'm out of here. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. I think probably by 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm guessing. Yeah, 10ish. Well, no. She's going to be up at 5. I'm going to be up at 5. 5, 6, 7. I'm going to try to be here around 9. 9ish? 9ish, all right? 9ish, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. I'm going to be live here on Christmas. We're all going to hang out. That's what I'm going to do. See you then. Later.
Definitely not heading towards the chicks though. He's a pretty nice bull, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
The more I look at him. Pretty fucking nice animal.